So starting in a child's pose today. If you have a couple yoga blocks, make sure you have them nearby. Use them. Mute everybody. Great. Cool. So once you're all set up, go ahead and find that comfortable child's pose shape. And let's take a deep breath all together here. So exhale, empty out your lungs. And then take a really nice, easy inhale. And exhale out of your mouth. And take several more deep breaths here in this child's pose. And if you just joined, yeah, feel free to meet us in child's pose here. And no matter what's going on in your internal world or external world, take a few more deep breaths. And because breathing is so important, let's take yet another breath together. So exhale, empty out your lungs again. Take a nice, easy inhale. And exhale out of your mouth. And then make your way to a tabletop position on your hands and knees, preparing for some cat-cows. So as you inhale, let your belly drop, let your collarbones spread wide. And then as you exhale, let your head drop, pull your low belly in. And feel free to keep that up exactly as you normally would on your own. If you'd like to add a little core strength when you're here, every time you follow and pull your belly in, you can push into the tops of your feet, lift your knees an inch off the ground. And then when you inhale and drop your belly, you can also tuck your toes, pressing into your hands and your toes to deepen the arch in your spine. And then untuck your toes, press into your hands and your knees. And then deepen the arch, collarbone slide. Do that a few more times on your own. And then find a downward facing dog. Press into your hands and feet. Reach through your shoulders to get really tall in the shoulder joints, and then feel free to wiggle around, bending one knee and the other. Maybe swaying your hips from side to side. And then gently start to walk your hands back towards your feet and then squat down at the back of your mat. Take your elbows to the insides of your knees, palms to your heart, open the front of your chest. Yeah, and if it feels good to wiggle here, sometimes it's nice to kind of rock to one side or rock to the other side, or maybe it feels better to just stay really still. But I often find that, especially at the beginning of the practice, if you wiggle around a little bit, it gives you a lot of information in a short amount of time about what's going on in the inside of your body. And then option, you can either walk back to a downward facing dog and step forward to a squat at the front of your mat here, or fun little challenge is see how lightly you can hop to the front of your mat by taking your hands as far forward as you can, and then pull your low belly in, hop, and then see if you can land really softly by using your arm strength and your core strength. Yeah, exactly. Good. And then straighten your legs, put your arms behind your back, interlace your fingers, stretch your knuckles back. And again, feel free to choose to wiggle if that helps you to tune into your body a little bit more efficiently. Or maybe feel free to be really still if that helps you get a little bit more centered. And then gently release your arms, inhale to a half lift, flat back, warm spine. You can rest hands on thighs or shins. And then exhale, fall forward. And then inhale, reverse swan dive, sweep your arms out wide up and overhead, little back bend at the top. You can think about squeezing your butt and opening the front of your chest. And then exhale, fold forward. And inhale to a half lift. And then exhale, plant your hands down, and kind of just like how we got here, we're gonna go back to a downward facing dog at the back of the mat by lowering down to a squat, pull your ribs in, push the floor away with your hands, and then see how lightly you can hop off of your feet and then go back to a downward facing dog. So the goal is to use less work with your legs and do more work with your arms and your core. You hop forward and back. And then lift your right leg up, bend your knee, open your hip, and move your right leg around in circles. And take an inhale, lift your leg up a little bit higher. And then exhale, step your right foot through between your hands for a high lunge. Keep your back toes pointing forward, back heel up, and then inhale, lift your arms up. Squeeze your back leg straight, bend your front knee a little bit deeper. And then think about pulling the front of your pelvis up, pulling your low belly in and your ribs in so that your low back is not too arched. And take an inhale, open the front of your chest, lift your chin, little back bend. And then exhale, hands down, step your right leg back in vinyasa of your choice. If you'd like to leave your right leg up as in vinyasa, you're welcome to. Exhale and lower. Inhale, open your chest, collarbones wide. And then exhale, fold back. Downward facing dog. And then you can either skip this, you can stay in your downward facing dog, or you can do another set of that low squat at the back of your mat to low squat at the front of your mat, and then squat at the back of your mat again, downward facing dog. Yeah, so we're gonna come back to that a little bit today. Feel free to remember that, we'll add on to it. And then left leg up, bend your knee, open your hip, wiggle that left leg around in circles. And take an inhale, lift your leg a little bit higher. And then exhale, step your foot all the way through between your hands. Press into your front foot. Inhale, arms up high. High lunge. Back heel stays up. Good. Squeeze your right butt cheek. Pull your low belly in. Open the front of your chest. Take a couple more deep breaths. And then hands down to the ground. Sweep your left leg back. You're welcome to leave the left leg up as you vinyasa. Exhaling to lower. Inhaling, open your chest. Good. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Another set of low squat. Imagine you're a cat that's about to pounce, and then low squat at the front of your mat. See if again you can make that as light as possible by pushing through your hands and engaging your core a lot. Yeah, and then downward facing dog. Good. And inhale, lift your right leg up and back again. And exhale, step your right foot through between your hands. This time, drop the back knee down. Inhale, reach your right arm up. An option to grab for your back foot with your top hand, stretching out your back thigh. Yeah. If you want more, squeeze that left butt cheek, drop your hips forward and down just a touch more, and then rotate your chest up towards the ceiling. One more deep breath. And then standing split, rather than kicking off of the back foot, push down into the front foot, lean forward, plant your hands down, and press so firmly with the front leg that you can lift your back leg up, maybe without even untucking the back toes. Yeah. And take an inhale here, lift your leg up a little bit higher. And then exhale, engage your core, pull your low belly in and tuck your knee to your chest. Maybe someday forehead touches your knee. And then inhale, lift it back up. And then exhale, you can either tuck again, same thing, or you might sit down on your right heel and pike your left leg through. And this is easier with blocks underneath your hands. And feel free to do that same thing a few more times, either tucking your knee into your chest or piking through. And think about pushing through your hands and engaging your core. Couple more times. Good. And then gently release your left foot down. Step your feet a little bit wider again, squat. So similar to what we did before, but we're gonna start slightly differently than the squat. So from your squat, instead of hopping back to downward facing dog from here, we're gonna add a little bit of a challenge of, from a kind of forward bend, thinking about pulling your ribs in and trying to lock this shoulder angle as you hop back. So notice how when I bend my knees a little bit, my shoulders don't really change that much. Notice how the rounding is coming from my core. And then press through your hands, downward facing dog. And see if you can make it as much from the arms and the core as possible. Very little from the legs. Slightly different from what we did before. Yeah. And to lock it in, feel free to do that a couple more times. Same thing on the way forward, thinking about hollowing with your core, getting really, really strong through your shoulders on the way forward, and really, really strong through core and shoulders on the way back. Yeah. Exactly. Good, and then find your way back to your downward facing dog again and lift your left leg up. And exhale, step your left foot through between your hands. Drop your back knee down, reach your left arm up, an option to grab for your back foot with your left hand. Stretching your thigh and twisting your spine. Take a few more easy breaths. And then plant your hands down, and again, to get to that standing split, rather than kicking off your back foot, Press down into your front foot and engage your core and lift that right leg off the ground. Yeah, and inhale, lift the leg up a little higher. And then exhale, tuck your knee into your chest, forehead towards me. Inhale, lift it back up. And then exhale, either tuck or maybe this time pike it through, sitting on your left heel. And then inhale, lift it back up again. And feel free to either tuck or pike your leg through several more times. Feel free to use blocks if this makes it a little bit easier. Or rather, if this is too hard. And then lower both legs back down to the ground. Find a squat just for a moment to open up your hips and lower back again. Nice full breath in. And then preparing to hop back to downward facing dog. Again, we're going to do it slightly differently than we did the first few times. Straightening the legs just enough, then pulling your low belly and ribs in, extending through your shoulders, locking your shoulder angle. And when you bend your knees to hop, it comes from the spine rounding. And then hop your legs back, pressing through your hands a lot. Yeah, good. And then vinyasa of your choice. You can inhale, shoulders over your wrists, upper push-up plank. And then exhale, halfway or all the way down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And on your next inhale, you can lift your right leg up again. Exhale, step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Drop your back knee to the ground, the lizard pose. So if your elbows naturally make it to the ground here, go for it. If that doesn't happen today, stack up a block or two underneath your elbows, or you can just keep your arms straight. That's fine too. And let the back of your neck relax. But if you want a little more, you could tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, squeeze your back leg straight. Yeah. And if this doesn't feel like enough and you want a little bit more, you're welcome to thread your right arm underneath your right leg to the outside of your right hand, preparing for Ekapada Kuninasana. And try and get your shoulder / upper arm underneath your right leg. And then option to either, once you lean your hips forward and slide that right foot off the ground, your right arm should be holding up the weight of your right leg. You can either do the dog peeing on a fire hydrant version where you bring your foot off to the side, or you can straighten the right leg forward and then think chaturanga with your arms, bend your elbows, and then lift your back leg up. Make sure you can breathe. That's optional. Nice, you guys. Yeah, awesome. Good, and when you're complete with that, feel free to thread that right leg up and back, one-legged downward facing dog if you'd like, or you can add a handstand or chin stand if that's in your practice today. And on your next inhale, lift your left leg up and back. And exhale, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand, preparing for that lizard pose again, dropping the back knee down, taking elbows either to blocks or to the floor. And relax the back of your neck. Take 5 really nice, easy breaths. If you want a little more, you can tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. And again, if that's not enough, you can thread your left arm underneath your left leg, trying to get your left shoulder almost underneath there. And then wiggle your left foot forward until your left leg is resting on your upper arm. And then again, either fire hydrant version with foot towards butt, or left leg forward. Either way, bend your elbows, lean your chest forward, and pick your back leg up. Yeah. And that's a multi-class project for those of you who haven't worked on that much. It's okay if it doesn't happen on your first try. Good. And when you feel complete with that, you can swing your left leg back in vinyasa of your choice. Again, if you want to add a little handstand hop, you can throw your left leg up, bend your elbows, and then vinyasa. And you can always use the vinyasa as an opportunity to take a break or an opportunity to level up. It's up to you, depending on how your body feels in the moment. And let's take a breath all together again. So exhale, empty out your lungs. And take a nice, easy inhale. And exhale out of your mouth. Good. You can choose to either stay here or rest in a child's pose or do a few more sets of hopping forward and back. So you can choose to either do the deep squat version if you want more of a hip opener, or you can do the less bent knee version for more of a core and arm strength challenge. So you're pressing through your arms and your core a lot to get your body forward and back. Good. We'll meet up back in a downward facing dog. Nice. Good. On your next inhale, lift your right leg up and back again. And then exhale, step your right foot through between your hands and think reverse warrior. So rotate your back heel to the ground and then sweep your left arm up, your right arm follows. Right arm up and back. Good. Bend your right knee a little deeper, open your right knee out to the right, and think about really reaching through your top fingertips up and back so that you're lengthening through your top shoulder and your right rib cage. And then straighten your right leg. Reach your right arm as far forward as you can. Think triangle pose. Take your right hand down, left arm up. And pull your low belly in, squeeze your butt. And then go back and forth on your own time between those last two postures. Bend your right knee, sweep your right arm up and back. And then straighten right leg, reach right arm down, left arm up. And if you want to make this more of a challenge for your core, you can try not to touch your hands on either side, hovering your arms above your head. You can make your arms parallel if you want more of a challenge. Next time you find reverse warrior, take one more easy breath in. And then exhale, windmill your hands down and think standing split again. Lean forward into your hands, press into your right foot to pick your back leg up. An option to stay right here. You're welcome to let your upper body fold, squeeze your top leg butt cheek to lift your top leg. You can even grab onto your calf with your right hand to lower your chest a little farther down. Or you're welcome to do handstand hops. Some of you know these well because you do these all the time with me. So think about that same hollow and the same extension through the shoulders that we had in those squat hops. Think pull your ribs in, lean your weight forward into your knuckles, and then throw your left leg up to hop your right foot back, and then throw your left leg up to hop your right foot forward. And do a few more of those. And see if you can make it come almost exclusively from shoulders, core, and top leg. Very little hop off the bottom leg. Yeah. You guys look good. Good. And then you can, next time you hop back, you can vinyasa, or if you're just in a standing split, step back, vinyasa. We'll meet up back in a downward facing dog. And then on your next inhale, soften your knees, look forward towards your hands, and walk or hop to sitting. Maybe you pike through if that's in your practice. Maybe you just, hop to a squat and sit. If you have blocks, take a block to either side of you. If you don't have blocks, you can still just put your hands flat on the ground, or you can even tent your fingers if you need a little bit more height, but that's kind of hard on your fingers if your fingers aren't strong enough for that. So we're gonna do a little bit of L-sit core work here. So notice how my blocks are kind of in line with the middle of my thigh. My blocks are not back by my hips. They're a little bit more forward. Think about leaning your chest forward over your blocks and then press your arms straight. So your hips are a little bit farther back from your arms. And then you might even think about dragging your hips even further back. Maybe someday lifting your feet up off the floor. Take 5 breaths wherever you can. Hold. It's okay if your feet need to stay on the ground. Yeah. Nice. Good. All right, once you've taken 5 breaths, you can either just step back to a downward facing dog, or if you want to roly-poly your way there, you can rock backwards, cross your ankles, rock forwards, point your hands to the front of your mat, step or hop back, and then vinyasa. And then let's take another breath all together. Exhale, empty out your lungs. And take a nice, easy inhale. And exhale out of your mouth. And then inhale, lift your left leg up and back. And exhale, step it through. Think reverse warrior again. Take your left foot through between your hands. Rotate your back heel to the ground. Think right arm up, left arm follows. Left arm up and back. And think about reaching through your top arm. Extend through the top shoulder. Squeeze your butt, pull your low belly in. And open your left knee out to the left. Good. And then straighten your left leg. Reach your left arm as far forward as you can. And then exhale, left hand down, right arm up. Keeping low belly pulled in, squeeze your glutes again. And feel free to go back and forth on your own time, bending left knee, reaching left arm up and back. And then straightening left leg, reaching left arm forward. And feel free to make both of these poses harder by paralleling your arms as you go back and forth. Next time you find a reverse warrior, take a full inhale. And then exhale, windmill your hands down, think standing split, pressing into your front foot. And you can either choose to just stay here, pulling on your left leg to draw your chest closer to the ground, or do a few more of those handstand hops. So you can think belly pulls in, shoulders are engaged, throw your right leg back, through your right leg, or rather through your right leg up to hop your left foot back. And try to be really, really stable through your arms and your core. Top leg goes up, yeah. Good, and then when you're complete with that, you're welcome to step or hop back, vinyasa. And meet up back in a downward facing dog. And even within the downward facing dog, let's play around with handstand arm shape. If this is kind of new to you and you want to watch, you're welcome to come down to your knees and just look at the alignment for a second. So you want to think about an external rotation through the shoulder joint, which means if my palms didn't stay flat, my thumb would turn up as if I'm giving a thumbs up. That's the shoulder rotation that we want in handstand. External rotation through the shoulders, and then think about really pushing through your knuckles as if you could lift the heel of your hand off the ground, and then dragging your fingers just a little bit in so your fingers are super engaged. And then from there, externally rotate and then pull your ribs in and drop your chest towards your knees. You want to feel really engaged through the fingers and shoulders, really externally rotated, and your ribs pull in and down. It might even feel like a shoulder stretch. Yeah, take a few breaths there. Some people call this handstand mudra in downward facing dog. It's a slightly different downward facing dog than usual because you're really extended through the shoulder, almost as if your shoulders are trying to touch your ears. Yeah, good. And then keep that extension through the shoulders as you look forward, and then think about hopping forward to sit. So maybe you hop all the way through hiking your legs forward and sitting, or maybe you just, yeah, hop to sit and then stretch your legs forward. Good. Another L-sit option. If your wrists are getting tired, feel free to do a bow pose instead for 5 breaths. If you have it in you to do an L-sit for 5 breaths, maybe you lift your legs in one piece, or maybe you straighten your arms, drag your hips back, and then lift your feet. 5 breaths. And once you're complete with 5 breaths, we'll meet up in a Paschimottanasana, forward fold. Good. In your forward bend, relax the back of your neck. Take 5 more easy breaths. One more deep breath. And then slowly unfold your upper body and make your way down to lying on your back. If you want to challenge yourself, you can bring your hips forward and then roll slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, down to lying on your back, preparing for a bridge pose. And once you're on your back, you can lock your feet in by your hips, squeeze your butt, lift your hips up, and then scoot your shoulder blades a little closer together behind your back. You might even clasp your fingers together behind your back. 5 breaths here. And every time you inhale, think about inflating your belly. And every time you exhale, squeeze your butt and press your heels down to lift your hips up a little higher. One more deep breath. And then slowly lower your hips down. Find a happy baby pose, grabbing onto the outside edges of your feet. And if it feels good to rock from side to side here, go for it. And you can choose to either stay in this happy baby for another 30 seconds or a few more breaths, or if you'd like to do a little bit of a core strength challenge, you can try rocking back and forwards in your happy baby shape, and then see if you can pause in an upright happy baby, balancing on your sit bones, kind of like you would balance on your sit bones for a boat pose, but you're holding onto your feet. Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge because you can't really throw your feet forward. You kind of have to use your core to do most of the work to sit up. And then the next time you get enough momentum to actually sit, you can let go of your feet, cross your ankles, plant your hands to the front of your mat, step or hop back, and vinyasa, or take a break. And let's take another breath all together here. So exhale, empty out your lungs. Take a nice easy inhale. And exhale out of your mouth. And then inhale, lift your right leg up and back yet again. And exhale, step your right foot all the way through between your hands. Think high lunge again. So press into your front foot. Inhale, arms up high. Left butt cheek squeezing tight. And take an inhale here, and exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. Good. Inhale, open your chest, collarbones wide, and then exhale, twist to your right, taking your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. If this is too much for you in this moment, feel free to drop the back knee down to make this pose a little bit easier. Or if you're feeling like a challenge today and you want to work on your arm balance, you can take your hands to the ground to your right, and then bend your elbows, trying to stay connected between upper left arm and upper right thigh. And then the more you bend your elbows for that chaturanga, the more you're creating a platform for that right leg to rest on, and then your left leg can also lift up. For Ekapada Vinyasana variation. Yes, nice, nice, David. That's close. Yeah, just lean forward even more, and then you'll be there. Yeah, think deep, deep chaturanga. Oh, yes, shoulders. Yeah, awesome. That's great. Good. And then when you feel complete with that, feel free to either handstand hop your way back, or step back, or take a break if you need to, child's pose, or rest in a downward facing dog. Vinyasa or not. Good. On your next inhale, lift your left leg up and back. Exhale, step it through between your hands. And inhale, high lunge. Inhale, arms up high. Nice full breath in. And then exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, open your chest, collarbones wide. And then exhale, twist to your left, hooking elbow to the outside of your knee. Again, you're welcome to drop the back knee, making this pose a little bit easier. If you want to make this pose a little harder, you can turn this into your Ekapada. Make sure that your upper arm is really glued to that left thigh. Take your hands to the ground, bend your elbows, lean forward, and think about energizing your legs, straightening your legs, lifting your back leg up. Yes, so good. Awesome. Good. If you feel complete with that, you're welcome to handstand hop back in Vinyasa, or step back, or take a break. Nice. You guys have gotten so strong. Pat yourself on the back for having consistent practice. So from your downward facing dog, we're gonna work on the pike through for a moment. So if you don't already know what I mean by pike through, you're welcome to come down to your knees and watch. If you already know what it is, feel free to do a few. Easier variation is with blocks. So you wanna think about that kind of like cat pounce shape that we practiced earlier, but really, really solid in the shoulders, really solid in the core. I'm gonna look forward, flex my feet, and press through my hands to get my legs through. So it's a lot of core, a lot of push with the arms. So we're trying to land in this L-sit position. So when you're, and you can even do this without blocks, it's the same thing. You're pushing through your arms, engaging your core, flexing your feet, and going forward. So if worst case scenario, well, if you point your toes, you could stub your toes. That's not good. Worst case scenario, most of the time what happens is you end up stepping your feet on the ground instead of fall on your butt. That's usually what happens, and then you're just here. But then the more you practice that core L-sit shape, the easier it is to get your legs through. And if anybody wants to see it again, feel free to do this. Otherwise, do a few of those. Yeah, nice, David, that was really close. Yeah, Catherine, you're getting better at it. Think about pressing through your arms even more. Yeah. Yes. Nice, David. Good, and once you're complete with that, we'll meet up in a Paschimottanasana again. Forward fold, you can scoop the fleshy parts out from underneath your sit bones. We're gonna be here a little longer this time, so if you'd like to put a block or two underneath your forehead, feel free to stack up blocks until you feel supported. And find a variation where you can actually let the back of your neck relax, or you can let your head dangle if possible. If that means bending your knees a little bit, that's fine. And let's take a breath all together again. So exhale, empty out your lungs. And take a nice, easy inhale. And exhale out of your mouth. Good. And then slowly unfold your upper body. Scoot your hips forward, preparing to roll down to your back. You're welcome to challenge yourself with a little core strengthener. Rolling down really, really slow to your back. And then option for a back bend of your choice. If you're feeling kind of chill in this moment, you're welcome to slide a block underneath your pelvis. Make sure it's on pelvis and not lower back. If you want to do the same bridge pose we did before, clasping your hands behind your back, you're welcome to. Or if you have a wheel in your practice, you can take your hands to the ground by your shoulders and press your arms to straight, making sure to tuck your chin on the way back down. We'll take 5 breaths in a back bend of your choice. One more deep breath, wherever you are. And then slowly lower yourself back down. Sarah, I think he's going to be a rock climber someday. Good, and then once you're back on your back again, feel free to windshield wiper your knees from side to side a few times. You're welcome to make your way to downward facing dog however you like. Energetic option is rocking forward, cross your ankles, plant your hands, step or hop back in vinyasa, or you can just sit up and meet me in a downward facing dog. And also a reminder for those of you who weren't here last week, this class is now an hour and 15 minutes rather than just an hour. If you need to leave at the hour, I'll tell you when that is, in case you didn't get the memo. So from a downward facing dog, let's take a breath again. Exhale, empty out your lungs. And take a nice, easy inhale. And exhale out of your mouth. And then soften your knees, look forward towards your hands, and walk or hop to a squat again. Option to stay in your squat. Feel free to, if you want to make this a little easier, you can slide a prop underneath your seat and hang out here. Maybe this is where you stay for the next minute or so. If you have a crow pose in your practice, I'm going to show crow, but also crow to tripod headstand and back. If you want to do this by a wall, if you have a wall, you're welcome to. So from crow pose, taking your knees to your upper arms, and again, the key, hollow, pull your ribs in, lean forward towards your fingers, digging your fingers into the ground to prevent you from falling forward. And then the transition to tripod headstand, you start to tuck your chin as you keep digging your fingers down, but you start to bend your elbows a little bit more so that the top of your head lightly rests on the ground. And then you press through your hands and engage your core to get your knees off of your elbows to lift up to your tripod headstand. Then coming back to your crow, taking your knees to your upper arms, engaging your core, push through your fingers a lot to control your ascent back to crow. And then maybe hop back chaturanga and then vinyasa. Feel free to do as much. Thanks, Bill. Feel free to do as much of that as feels comfortable. Feel free to use a wall if you're afraid of falling through the tripod. If crow is enough for you, option to make crow easier is step on a block with your feet, and then it makes it so that you don't have to actually work as hard to get your feet up and your hips up. Good, you can spend another 30 seconds or so on whatever you're working on. When you feel complete with that, we'll vinyasa and meet up in a child's pose. And when you feel complete, if you didn't already make your way to a child's pose, go ahead and rest there for a moment. And let's take another breath together. Exhale, empty out your lungs again. And take a really nice, easy inhale. And exhale out of your mouth. And then you can choose to either just make your way to sitting on your sit bones, or if you want to practice a pike through again before we come to sitting, you're welcome to take blocks on either side of you, press back to a downward facing dog, flex your feet, press through your hands, and see if you can land lightly through an L-sit. Otherwise, if you're complete with that, we'll meet up in a Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees wide, fold forward. And let the back of your neck soften again. An option to just stay really chill and relaxed in this Baddha Konasana, or kind of like we did with our happy baby. You're welcome to hold on to your feet, rock backwards, keep that Baddha Konasana shape, and then rock forwards, find your forward fold again, and then rock backwards, rock forwards. So you're still using your core, and you're engaging your legs on the way up, pressing your feet into your hands to help you sit up. If you'd rather just stay resting in a Baddha Konasana, that's also an option. You're welcome to chill here for another 5 breaths or so. And then if you didn't already, meet us in a Baddha Konasana and we'll take 1 breath together. So exhale, empty out your lungs. And take a nice, easy inhale. And exhale out of your mouth. And again, you can either just meet us in a downward facing dog if you're feeling low energy, or you can gather your legs, rock forward, cross your ankles, plant your hands down, step or hop back optional vinyasa. We'll meet up back in a downward facing dog. On your next inhale, lift your right leg up and back again. And exhale, step your right foot through between your hands, but this time turn all 10 toes to the left. Walk your hands between your feet, wide-legged forward bend. Yeah. And feel free to either just hang heavy in this forward bend, let this pose be as it is. Or for those of you who've been working on press handstand work for a little while, you're welcome to do straddle, or if you want to start working on press handstand work, you can work on straddle jumping jacks. So you're pushing into your knuckles, leaning your weight forward over your knuckles, pulling your ribs in, coming high onto your tippy toes, and then hopping your feet together and hopping your feet apart. And notice how little of a hop it is, because I'm really using my arms and my core to do most of the work, and someday it'll just be a press, in and out. Yeah, nice. You guys are getting really good at being strong through the shoulders and the core. I love it. Good. And then the next time you're in a straddle, we'll come through a Skandasana on the right side, taking your right heel towards your right, or right hip rather towards your right heel, squatting down on the right side, turning your left toes up. And this might be enough for you. Feel free to keep some weight on your hands if this is too much for your hips. You can also sit on a block. You can take something underneath your seat and hang out here. If you're able to bring your palms to your heart, you're welcome to. And if this is super comfortable and you want to add a twist, you can take your right hand behind you. Inhale, reach your left arm up. Think like rib cage up with your arm, and then hook your elbow to the outside of your knee. And again, this might be enough. You can stay here, or you can turn this into your twisted Ekapada variation by taking your hands to the ground. Think glue your arm to your leg, bend your elbows, lean your chest forward, and then tip your weight into your upper body, picking your feet up off the ground. Good, and then we'll vinyasa of your choice. You're welcome to turn this Ekapada into a vinyasa by pressing through your hands, shooting your legs back, chaturanga, and then vinyasa. Good. And then on your next inhale, lift your left leg up and back. And exhale, step it all the way through between your hands. Turn all 10 toes to the right, wide-legged forward bend. And again, option to just stay here, hanging out in the forward bend, or option to work on your straddle jumping jacks or straddle presses. Or you can do another tripod headstand. You can walk your hands back in line with your feet, lean your head towards the floor, press into your hands to straddle your legs up, and then straddle your legs back down when you're ready. And then when you're complete with that, you can land in your straddle, and this time Skandasana on the left side. So take your left hip towards your left heel, turn your right toes up. Hands either on the ground or at your chest. Option to sit on a block. Again, this might be enough. If you're able to add a twist, you can take left hand behind you, inhale, right arm up. Bring your rib cage with you as you twist, hooking elbow to the outside of your knee. Again, this might be enough. Stay here. Otherwise, if you want more, you can plant your hands to the ground for Ekapada. Bend your elbows, lean your chest forward. And the more you lean your weight forward into your shoulders, the easier it is to pick your legs up. Yeah. Good. If you're in your Ekapada and you want to press back to chaturanga from there, you can think about shooting your legs back, press through your hands, and then vinyasa. From your downward facing dog, you're welcome to either just make your way to sitting in Tadasana, or you can work on your pike through again, taking blocks underneath your hands. Prepare that little cat pounce, press through your hands, hop forward, and then Tadasana, making a diamond shape with your legs and folding forward. If you'd like to take a block underneath your forehead, you can put a block either on your feet or in front of your feet, depending on where your head lies. And a heads up for those of you who need to leave at 5:30, it is 5:29, so if you have a time constraint, you're welcome to take a brief Shavasana before you go. And take 10 more easy breaths here. If you forget about the counting of your breath, don't worry about it, but just let yourself sink into your next 10 breaths. Let's take another breath together. Exhale, empty out your lungs. And take a nice, easy inhale. And exhale out of your mouth. And then nice and slow, start to unfold your upper body, and you can make your way down to lying on your back. Feel free to either just lie down or a little core challenge, slow as you can, rolling down to your back. And once you're on your back, another back bend of your choice. Options again for a restorative bridge, block underneath your hip, or a regular bridge, arms clasped behind your back, or wheel pose, pressing into your hands, straightening your arms, tucking your chin on the way down. 5 breaths in whichever back bend you chose. Good. If you completed that next breath, you can tuck your chin, slowly lower yourself down. Bella, that looks so pretty. Good. Once you wipe your knees from side to side. Good. And then let your knees rest back in the center and take your right ankle on top of your left thigh. If that already feels like a stretch, you can stay there. Otherwise, interlace your fingers around your left leg. If you want more, you can roll up to sitting. I was like, how do you say that? You can roll yourself up to sitting and then find ankle to knee pose, folding forward over your shins. And if you're in ankle to knee, make sure that your whole ankle is on your knee and not sickling the foot, just to protect the ankle. Make sure your shins are parallel. Whichever variation you've chosen, see if you can allow your head, face, muscles, jaw, neck, let it all soften. Let's take another breath together. Exhale, empty out your lungs. And take a nice, easy inhale. And exhale out of your mouth. And then take as much time as you need to switch your legs. Regardless of whether you're on your back or sitting upright, you can put the opposite leg on top. Again, make sure your whole, if you're in ankle to knee pose, make sure your whole ankle is on top of your knee if possible. And find whatever variation in which you're able to let your head, neck, shoulders soften. Notice what you're thinking about. And then watch this breath again. And let's take another breath all together. So exhale, empty out your lungs. And take a nice, easy inhale. And exhale out of your mouth. And then nice and slow, start to unravel and lie on your back again. Do another windshield wiper from side to side. And check in with your body if there's anything that your body needs right now. Maybe it's another twist, maybe it's another inversion. Any pose that your body is longing for, you can take a moment, next minute or so, to take care of your body. And if you feel complete, you're welcome to lie in a final Shavasana on your back. And once you're complete, if you didn't already make your way to your final Shavasana, you're welcome to let your toes flop out wide to the sides. Let your palms face up. If you're playing music, you can turn it off if you'd like. You can cover yourself with a blanket. You can put a pillow underneath your knees. You can put a washcloth over your eyes. Whatever you need. here, and we'll be here for about 5 minutes, so let yourself soften into stillness. And slowly start to deepen your breath again. Wiggle your fingers and your toes, gently reawakening your body. And stretch your arms over your head, walk your feet in, take a nice deep breath. Make your way up to a comfortable seat. And take a moment to thank yourself for choosing to practice today. And I acknowledge you for making that choice. We'll take a breath together, so exhale, empty out your lungs. And take a nice, easy inhale. And exhale out of your mouth. Namaste. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today.